Hey guys, Dr. Z here. If you're on lockdown right now and potentially awaiting what will this pandemic mean to you and your close circle, it is a great time for you to take up a practice of meditation. We are in a historical moment, living under the threat, in some countries already suffering that threat, of a virus that impairs your breathing. This touches a particular fiber of humanity, our breath. What a great exercise for you to learn to find peace in your breath. Throughout my medical practice, whenever I've introduced my patients to the practice of meditation, I remind them what an asset for your fear of dogs, for your fear of flying, for your fear of failure, for your fear of death. What an asset for you to learn to understand that the safest place on earth for you is not that tablet that you have hidden in the bottom of your wallet. It's not the other person that you need to be leaning on. It's not the savior of any nature that you have learned to believe on. Your actual place of peace is your own breath. In your own breath, you can go back to the safest place you know. Imagine if this became your practice, what an asset that could be. I can tell you how much meditation has proven to be useful in my own clinical practice and in my own personal relationship with myself. And I would love to share some of that with you today. We don't meditate because it's touchy-feely and new age. I know this is the kind of things that you don't hear from your MD, but rather from sometimes people who wear too many bracelets. But meditation is actually very scientifically sound. To this day, no neuroscience will be able to pinpoint where in our brains is that actually we experience awareness or consciousness. There's some theorists out there that suggest that consciousness is not so much a function of any particular part of our brains, but a particular frequency to which our brains has the capacity to tune in. That awareness, that consciousness is pre-thought. If you've come to think in your life that you are your stream of thoughts, that the series of concerns that you hold about coronavirus or this pandemic that are riding through your brain are the only place where you can be right now mentally, that the stream of fears that is the aftermath of the thoughts is the only emotional place that you can inhabit. That's not true. There is a preceding place. There is a consciousness that is before thought that you can access. And how do you access it? Through the practice of meditation. This virtual distance that now seems like such negligible distance between you and your stream of thoughts grows with the practice of meditation. And in that spaciousness, you learn to realize that you don't have to abide to every single stream of thought that jumps into your mind. The mind is a useful resource, and it's important for us to use our minds. Using logic, using analysis is key. But once the plan has been devised, once you understand that you needed to do frequent hand washing, stay at home, protect your loved ones, after that is done, and the analytical mind offered you a path of action that is successful, then worrying excessively will actually not be helpful and can actually be detrimental to your own health. So how do we practice a routine of meditation? Like I said before, start slow, but take it seriously. Make the space. If you go into a panic like I used to at the beginning of my meditational practice years ago, where I couldn't realize how was I ever going to just stop and be quiet and sit for 5 minutes, just observe for a second there how difficult it is for you to just be with yourself. And grant yourself the privilege of spending 2, 3, 5 minutes with yourself as a gift instead of as a punishment. The practice of meditation is a practice in which every single breath we take takes us back to the present moment. A lot of people start this practice of meditation and say, I can't stop the chain of thoughts, like my brain just won't stop. That's okay. The brain was never supposed to stop. The brain secretes thought like the pancreas secretes insulin. It's what the brain does. The work of meditation is that whenever I find myself drifting off into thought, the breath itself becomes the reminder for me to come back to the present moment and be only with the present moment. The brain will start again and again drift into a new pattern of thinking. Sometimes these drifts onto thought can last 5 seconds. Sometimes they can take up to half of your meditational practice. It doesn't matter. The breath, once you remember, brings you back to the present moment. And it doesn't bring you back with criticism. It doesn't bring you back with judgment, because then we're giving access to the ego to our meditation practice. And it's not about ego practice. Meditation practice is infused with self-compassion. So it's with tenderness and infinite patience that we kind of smile at this uneasy kid that needs to wander right away, and we gently bring him or her back to the present moment by way of our breath. What does the practice look like? So if you look at my legs, you can see that they're in a little bit of a yoga pose. You want the legs to appear somewhat activated because you don't want saggy legs to fully become canvases where all your lower extremity blood just stays there. You want circulation to be activated because, importantly so, meditation practice is an active practice. We want our brain to be perfused with blood, and we want our brain to be active. We're just realizing that the stream of thought is not all that our brain was made to be. In the same line, you want to keep straight back, not hyper arching your back, relaxed but somewhat straight, with your shoulders knit back and with your shoulder blades almost touching each other. The hand posture varies. I'm not very fanatic when it comes to this, but overall, any physicist will tell you that underneath the atoms there's subatomic particles, and when you look inside those, at the end of the day, it was all just energy moving at different speeds. So you want to think about a meditational practice as a cycling of energy going through you but not taking you over. How do we cycle energy? We keep open flow, which is why the hand posture is invited to be somewhat like this. My right or left hand is holding the other hand, and my two thumbs are touching like so. And you rest your hands on top of your thighs. Nothing is forced on meditation. And you're going to be breathing in and out through nose. And you're going to be doing mostly diaphragmatic breathing, which is the most effortless breathing, in which it's going to be your stomach that gets inflated and deflated, with the breath again going in through nose and out through nose. You want your eyes to rest 2 to 3 feet ahead from you, but not to be focusing your sight. I am sitting on a little cushion that goes on top of a little cushion mat, but you can do this just by folding pillows. Just make sure your tushy has a good support, so you can fold the pillow there, and make sure the legs are at least 5 inches beneath the level of your tushy, so not everything is at the same level. Again, we're trying to promote circulation. Some meditation troubleshooting. During your early meditational practice, all through probably years after, there are going to be moments where your mind, trying to remain the source of your distraction, will scream at you. How much longer? Oh my God. 7 more minutes? I will die. 15 more minutes? Oh my God. A great answer that I have found with time for that uneased mind is to say, no, there's no such thing as 15 minutes. There's no such thing as 20 minutes. All I ask for you, mind, is to stay with me in the present moment. The present moment holds no accumulation of time. It's always just the present. The present is always timeless. That's one thing. The other thing is, if you're falling asleep. If you're falling asleep during your meditation practice, make sure your body is in a state of activation. You don't have to be exhausted. I don't want you to have back pain at the end of your meditation. If you're doing that, if you have back pain, something's off with the posture. Some people need to meditate sitting up with their legs flexed at 90 degrees, activated, not fully sagging down, and sitting upright. Hopefully, if you can, without leaning on your back, but actually just sitting up. Again, having an activated body, allowing blood flow to be happening is a big part of the meditation practice. And you start your practice, and the invitation again, is just to, be inhaling through nose and exhaling through nose. And as your mind drifts, with each breath, you're going to bring it to the present moment. Why don't we do today 15 minutes together? You can stop at minute 2, at minute 5, at minute 10, and slowly increment with me. The idea is for your practice with time to hopefully get up there to at least 30 to 45 minutes. As we conclude our meditation practice, we bow. And when we bow, we are bowing to ourselves. We are thanking the vessel that we've been given in this life. And we are granting it so much appreciation by showing that we can be with nothing but itself for a whole 15, 30, 45 minutes. We don't have to establish a purpose. We don't have to establish an action. We don't have to produce, consume, create. Being with it is enough. And in that way, we are bowing to it. And from that bow, there's a unlimited amount of power that comes from realizing that our truest essence is with being. And from then on forward, we can become true creators, true essential creators, true loving creators, because we're starting from a place of comfort within ourselves. Thanks.